Here are 5 features about the 2022 Pathfinder that you should definitely consider when looking for your next third row SUV. And those 5 things are going to range from the drivetrain all the way to just the overall appearance. Now you've got a 3.5 liter V6 engine inside the engine bay of the Pathfinder. And if you watch my videos, you've heard this before. This is actually the front wheel drive version of the 03 to 05 Nissan 350Z engine, which obviously that one's rear wheel drive. But for engine codes, that's a VQ35DE. Now as for the horsepower and torque, it's going to be pretty comparable to the old 350Zs too. So you're sitting at about 284 horsepower and it'll make about 259 foot-pounds of torque. And even with it being a third row and pretty big size SUV, you still make 21 miles per gallon in the city and about 27 miles per gallon on the highway. And number 2, the D-shaped steering wheel. Now I know what you might be thinking. Why would you put a D-shaped steering wheel inside of an SUV? For one of the exact same reasons D-shaped steering wheels are used in racing. Now most higher trim levels will have your memory seats. So if you don't know what that is, you'll have normally 1 or 2 presets for your driver's seat. So when you get inside and you start the car, it automatically goes to the position that you like to drive in. Now, with the lower trim levels, you don't get that luxury. So what's nice about the D-shaped steering wheel is, yes, even with the memory seats, it gives you a little bit extra room to get in and out. But if you don't want to move your steering wheel or your seat every time you get in and out of the car, when you don't have memory seats, that's what this is for. So that your legs can easily slide in underneath. So if I had this all the way down, my legs are pretty close. I've got about a 2-finger gap between the leg and the bottom of the steering wheel. Now if that steering wheel was completely round, I'd have about a 1-finger gap. So that makes it a little bit harder to get in and out of the car. But given that you flatten the bottom of the steering wheel, it makes it just that tiny little bit easier. And this is number 3, you get the driver perspective. We're talking about the gear shifter. Now let's break it down. In any traditional car, or most cars in general, you would have a gear shifter that goes back and forth normally. And it comes up from the transmission underneath the car, through the chassis, into the cabin. Now what Nissan did is transition this over to an electronic gear shifter. So now there is nothing going underneath it either. So we actually opened up an enormous cubby hole underneath the center console to give you a little bit extra storage. Now when we're using the gear shifter, it's actually a lot simpler than it looks. So obviously foot's got to be on the brake. Now if we wanted to go into drive, all we would do is take the gear shifter and push it all the way back. Now we're in drive. Now if I wanted to go into reverse, there is actually a button on the left side of the gear shifter. You have to press in and then you push it all the way forward and release it. That's going to put you into reverse, show your reverse camera, and if you have the 360 bird's eye view, it'll display that as well. Now one question we get all the time is, how do you go into neutral? So if you actually just do like a little half click and hold it, it puts you right into neutral. Now obviously with the big old P button on the top, you know, you're just clicking P to go right back into park. And one cool thing with this specific one is that it has paddle shifters. So if you wanted to go into manual mode for any reason, I know this is a third row SUV, but just so that you know, you would basically go down into drive and then down again, and that would put you into manual mode and you'll be able to shift with the paddle shifter. And for number 4, we're looking at the seats, and what Nissan refers to them is the zero gravity seats. Nissan says that they are NASA inspired. On top of having a special type of memory foam that is going to be a little bit softer, a little kind of hug you a little bit better. The leather itself on the seats, if you do have the perforated leather, is a little bit softer. If you don't know what perforated leather is, a flexible leather is the best way to describe it. That will help kind of hug you as well, and you won't be sliding all over the place on normal leather seats. Now one cool thing with the zero gravity seat that sets them apart is that they extend a little bit further out to the back of your knee and kind of helps with longer road trips, keeps your legs from falling asleep, stuff like that. And up here on the backs, you do have a little bit of a lip here to kind of help hug you a little bit extra up top as well. And that's number 4, so let's move on to number 5. And that one is the overall exterior design of the new Pathfinders. On this specific one, we opted for the black roof because you can get the two-tone design and you can also get the paint matched roof as well. But not only that, is just the entire thing in general. Compared to the older design back in 2020, these have come a long way. And you can definitely tell what Nissan was aiming for on this because it has that more off-road and kind of rugged design to it. And in 2023, they're supposed to be coming out with a Rock Creek edition again. But that's gonna be the 5 things that I think you should consider when you're looking for your next third row SUV. The Nissan Pathfinder is definitely a contender when it comes to that. So if you're interested in seeing the Rock Creek when it comes out, go ahead and subscribe. Or if you're just looking for more content in general, we post a new video every single week. But that's it for this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.